Hi everyone, it's Ross here, coming to you from my home in Norwich, and hopefully you guys tucked away nice and safely inside, away from the snow. This is what it kind of looks like outside my window at the minute. Okay, so I'm imagining yours looks kind of similar. So apologies that I couldn't make it in personally today, but I thought it'd be a shame not to try and utilize technology for the benefit. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the drum roll, please. We are going to be looking at promotion and place. So let's get started. So last time we were looking at the first two elements of the marketing mix. So we were looking at um, product and price. Okay, so this week we're going to be finishing off that last piece of the jigsaw to the marketing mix by looking at promotion and place. So we need to be able to understand the basic strategies and tactics regarding the contribution method of products and services and start to have a look at the different methods of promotion. So, promotion, what is it? Promotion's all about communicating with the customer in some way or form, about getting people to understand what your product is and why they should buy it. It's more than just advertising. It's not simply just those adverts on the radio and on TV that you see all the time, but it can also be to do with special offers. So, the main objectives of promotion are to increase awareness, so to actually show that your products exist, to remind consumers about the product so that they don't forget it, to show that the product is better than the competition, so really highlighting the fact that you are the best around and you have the product that the customers need, to show also to develop or improve the image of a product. Okay, so what we mean by image is reputation of it. So if you have a look, for example, at McDonald's, McDonald's have a bad reputation for unhealthy food, but they started advertising and doing promotions around their healthy foods range to try and change their image to show that they're not just about unhealthy burgers and things like that, but also providing options for other people. So, because you improve the image and provide a level of what we call product differentiation, okay, just making your product different in some way, that allows you to put higher prices on your products. So the fundamental point on promotion is that the the marketing mix forms part of what your promotion strategy should be. So, for example, if you're offering a cheap product, then you're not necessarily going to focus on the quality of your product, but you may focus on the fact that the price is so much cheaper than elsewhere. Okay. The next thing is you need to be aware that actually a lot of the adverts with the biggest hit, like TV advertising, radio advertising, have are actually really expensive. So primetime TV can be as much as £3,000 a minute for your advert, which is it's very, very expensive. And also you need to make sure that your advert or your promotional strategy fits in with the right people. So, for example, you'll see a lot for those of you watching the football, you'll notice there's a lot of gambling adverts, a lot of cars adverts, a lot of alcohol adverts, all in the football break because they think that people that watch the football are going to be interested in those types of products. Whereas if you watch soap operas, okay, like EastEnders and things like that, you'll notice that their adverts are more for cleaning products and things like that. Because traditionally, housewives and things were and people of similar backgrounds were the ones that watched those watched soap operas, and therefore they would it'd be more appropriate to advertise those products for during those times. So the example that we got here is that table tennis equipment in specialist sports magazine um, should be advertised in the specialist sports magazine, not on an expensive TV channel, because it's less likely that the person would be interested in that type of equipment on TV. Okay, they're more likely to read the magazine. So there are several types of promotion you could go on, several different ways of going about promoting your product. So traditionally, you look at advertising on TV, on the radio, newspapers, posters and billboards, the internet, you name it, all that sort of thing. Secondly, we could go about direct emailing or mailing. So sending through information about a product through the post. So a lot of fast food chains and pizza delivery shops do this method. If you've got a specialist item, wedding photographers and florists and people like that will often go to exhibitions or trade fairs. So the benefit of this type of method is that because you're there physically, you can gauge from customers' reactions whether your product is suitable or what sort of changes you could make to make your product more successful and make you gain larger profits. So you could offer sales promotions, competitions, free offers, loyalty cards. So loyalty cards are very, very popular, particularly things like Tesco Club Card, where you get points or rewards for shopping at Tesco. This means that even if your product is maybe slightly more expensive than a competitor, customers may be willing to buy from yourself because they know they'll get rewarded in different ways through purchasing from yourself instead. You can have a look at point of sales things. So next time you go into your local Tesco or Aldi or Asda or Sainsbury's or wherever, you can see a point of sale is a promotional item that's usually put at the front of the shop. Okay, so it'll have its own little shelf and it'll be advertising around it. Okay, if you Google point of sale, I'm sure you'll see some examples there. Okay, but the main thing about point of sale is that it's about where exactly is your product being sold. So a lot of companies pay supermarkets to be placed in the middle section of the aisle. Okay, so not on the lower shelf, not on the upper shelf, but on the middle shelf, where it's within eyesight and the easiest place to reach, because they believe that if customers don't think about what they're buying, they're more likely to purchase your product if it's on the middle shelf. The next thing is about packaging. Does your packaging really stand out? Does it represent your brand? So, with Kellogg's, whenever you buy Kellogg's items, you've got the green banner, and you've got the Kellogg's red logo there available for it to stand out, and you know exactly what type of product it is straight away. So even when you look at the supermarket own brand products, they have their own unique coloring system and style that helps them separate themselves out from the competition. The next thing you can look at is personal selling. So it's something called telesales, where you ring people up and you say, "Oh, are you interested in this product?" Or you go door to door. Now, the The effectiveness of this sales method is questionable, and a lot of people will simply put the phone down on you or shut the door on you if you approach it in this type of method. The next thing to look at is about public relations. So, are you looking at sponsoring a particular event? Are you giving money to charity? Do you organise local community events to make sure that you're getting a positive name for yourself? So, for example, Coca Cola sponsor a lot of global events like World Cups and Olympics because then people associate those big positive events with Coca Cola. If you develop that type of experience model, then the customers develop a good associate mentally good times with your product. So whenever they want to have a good time or recreate that moment, they may use your product as a way of bringing that back. So when you look at Marks and Spencers or the Body Shop, the Body Shop, for example, makes sure that there's no animal testing on their products, which again is favourable towards customers because they like to know that the products are safe, and the particularly those that are morally conscious of treatment of animals know that they can go to the Body Shop and buy good products without fear of those of animals being endangered in the process. Now, there we can separate these types of promotion in two ways. There's above the line promotion, which is the use of mass media outlets. So that's your posters, the cinema, TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, all the traditional types of promotion. Okay? Anything mass media. They tend to be more expensive and are used to really raise awareness of your product. So there generally use above the line promotion when you're trying to introduce a new product and raise awareness or provide information about the product. Okay. Generally, above the line promotion isn't for small firms, except maybe slightly larger firms that would take out a local newspaper advert, have an internet website to act as an advertising platform for them, because mass media things like the TV and the radio are often very expensive. Very small firms can't afford it. So you can advertising is essentially a paid message inserted into a newspaper or a TV or radio or any medium that you choose to suit that target audience. Okay. So now we've got three campaigns here. Okay. And what I'd like you to do on your own copy is to watch these three different types of campaigns. So you've got a teaser, okay, where you're looking at an advert that will try and promote the item and say, oh, this is what's coming up soon. You've got a lifestyle type advert where someone is trying to encourage you to change your lifestyle in some way or enhance your lifestyle based on this product. And you've got the rational type advert here where someone is trying to use facts or figures or logic to say, look, you definitely need this product because of this information. Okay. So please watch each of these types of video, okay, by downloading my lecture, and then you can follow. Then you can understand the different types of advert that come into play. So, for above the line promotion, the target market is really important. Does the business know exactly who they are targeting? Are you targeting women, children, adults, men, um, sports enthusiasts, knitting clubs, older generation, younger generation? Okay. Do you know exactly who your customers are? Because really, depending on what type of customer you have, will depend on where you should put your promotion. So, like we said before, you wouldn't have a specialist table tennis um, table and equipment on a TV advert because a TV is for general audiences. You choose a more specific market or specific medium of presenting your information, such as a sports magazine, because it's more likely your target market is reading that magazine. Below the line promotion looks at different things. So it's your coupons, your free offers, your 2-for-1s, and celebrity endorsements. Okay. So this is where the business has direct control over the target audience. Okay. So it's usually you can tell because a lot of these things will go out directly to the customer. Okay. So below the line promotion, you might have direct mail where you're sending specific mail to consumers. Usually, it'll be based on some sort of database or some sort of collection of information where a person has expressed an interest in information about a product that's either similar to yours or to your product. However, if you do this method, it can often be seen as junk mail. A lot of the people are signed up to these things without realizing and have no intention of ever buying your product. So if you're associated with this type of mail, then it could have a negative impact on your business. The other thing you could have a look at is sponsorship. So you're providing positive publicity for your business. Maybe you sponsor the local football team, or you sponsor. Depending on how big you are, you're sponsoring large sports events. Okay, large retail events that show that you're a company that cares and that starts to develop good relationships with your customers. Okay. The next bit is about merchandising. So persuading your customers to buy at the point of sale. It's about what we talked about before of shelf space and position. Where exactly are your products? Okay. And here are a couple of examples of point of sale um, type items. Okay. Having your own individual display. It'd be about having colourful displays, making sure that you stand out in some way, making sure that you can see everything clearly. It could be to do with store layout. Okay. So they tend to put things together where people of similar background are likely to go. So they've got hardware, automotive, sporting goods, and all together. Okay. Plumbing and electrical. We've got beauty care, cards, stationery, cosmetics, home fashions. Okay. And then you've got toys, pets and garden centre, gifts and florists. So you notice they're all gift typed items. Okay. You tend to put men down this section and women across this section. Okay, just as a general stereotype for how things are. And you do that to ensure that the right people come across your store. Okay, so that's enough about promotion. The next thing is about place. So, place is all to do with the distribution channels and how exactly do we get your product from where it's being made to where you're selling it. So, it's distribution channels in particular is about the routes a product passes from the producer to the consumer. So your producer could be your manufacturer, and your consumers can either be the wholesalers that buy the products in bulk or the retailers. So wholesalers are usually large companies that are buying in a in large bulk quantities, and then they may sell them on to other local stores. Whereas the retailer will then will be those local stores that will sell it on to a customer. So the traditional method is that the producer will sell to these large wholesalers, sorry. The wholesaler will sell to a group of smaller retailers, and then the customers buy from the retailers. However, increasingly, we're seeing that because of the rise of big business, that a lot of wholesalers have disappeared, and instead, the retailers are buying directly from the producer and selling them to the customer. That's good for the retailer and for customers because there's a reduced number of people in the chain. It may mean that the customer gets the product for a cheaper price. And the retailer definitely gets it for a cheaper price than there was from the wholesaler because the wholesaler isn't involved in trying to make profit. The other method you could look at is just direct. So producers selling directly to customers. Okay, this is relatively rare, but does happen. Okay, so if you look at IKEA and people like that, they make the products and sell them directly to customers. So the greater the distribution channel, okay, oh, apologies. The greater the distribution channel, blimey. The greater the distribution channel, the smaller the profit margin. But it doesn't mean it can reach a greater number of customers more cost effectively. Okay, so when we got more links in the chain, okay, it means smaller profit margins for everyone. Okay, but the wholesaler may represent a larger region than just an individual retailer. So you could get more customers through this traditional method than you could with direct or modern methods. Okay. The next step is about the marketing channels or the market channels. So these are to do with the who you actually go to sell your product. The rise of the internet means that and particularly things like Alibaba and eBay mean that a lot of small businesses can actually sell direct to customers now because they have their own online marketing place and making sure that they can sell their product to a large number of customers. Then they don't need retailers anymore. They don't need wholesalers. Okay. The growth of large retailers such as Tesco, Walmart, and Carrefour mean that there's a lot of bulk buying from these large retailers that means that you don't need wholesalers. So, for example, a music company, because of iTunes and Amazon Music and Spotify and things like that, they could just sell direct to the consumers. Whereas traditionally, a music company would have sold its music to a wholesaler, who would have sold it to the retailer, and then sold it to a consumer. Another example is in insurance. So now, because of the rise of things like Compare the Market and other search um, customer comparison websites, customers can go online and just search for their insurance and look at all these different insurance companies. Whereas before, a lot of people used to use something called an insurance broker, or have to ring round each of the insurance companies, okay, to do the search for them. The other influence that you can look at is um, to what extent does the producer of the product actually, how much control do they want or decide over who sells the product? So the larger retailers like Tesco and Carrefour and Walmart will generally go direct to the producers. And that, again, we talked about how the fact that that means a lot of wholesalers are now being cut out. However, if you're a particularly controlling um, product, okay, you may want to make sure that you only sell to certain retailers because you don't want it to affect your reputation or to affect the quality of your product. So, for example, Levi's jeans and Nike both prevent Tesco from selling their products because they want people to go to their retail outlets and ensure that they only buy the products from them. That's a way of making sure that the quality of the product isn't being degraded and making sure that the reputation is protected. The other thing about place is to do with making sure your product gets to the right place at the right time, making it particularly convenient and easy for your customers to buy the product, and making sure that it's actually accessible to a customer. So if you put your product in the middle of the countryside, your shop, it's very unlikely that people are going to buy it compared to if you put it into a town centre or a shopping mall where lots of people come by and it makes it very easy and convenient for people to buy the product. If it's not easy and convenient, it's less likely that your product will sell well. Place is also about the reputation. The reputation of a retailer can affect the price and image of a product. So, for example, when Gap clothing were found to employ child workers, okay, then that really affected their image of their product, and a lot of people chose to buy different products instead. So the factors you should be considering when considering what place you should go to, okay, is are you going to focus on selling to one particular retailer, one large retailer like Tesco, or are you going to focus on providing your product in as many different places as possible? Are you considering the location of your customers? Because if your product is um, is designed for UK people, but you're selling it in the US, that doesn't make any sense. The nature and of the product and suitability of the channel. So if you're using the internet to sell your product, but your product is hairdressing, okay, that's not very suitable because you need to be out in the locations to make sure that your product is being delivered to the individuals. The internet would not be suitable in that situation. You've got to consider the environmental issues. If you're an online retailer, does that mean that you're going to be spending a lot of money on delivery vans? Are you going to be polluting the environment? You've got to look at the atmospherics of the channel. So, how is the how is your distribution network designed? Okay, Are you designed to be in the middle of the country and then go out to and deliver from that central location? Or are you going to have several smaller locations that were delivered more locally? You've got to look at the product mix. So, how many different types of products do you have? What sort of products do you have? What where should I be locating if I've got a group of small products compared to if I've got a group of large products? What are the customer requirements for distribution? So the things like Amazon Prime have meant that customers are becoming increasingly impatient for online sales. So maybe you need to have a large distribution network, okay, in order to meet those needs. What are the fashions in retailing? Okay, what's particularly popular at the moment? And lastly, is there any exclusivity deals? So, for example, if you're working with a large retailer, they might ask you to do a deal where they're the only ones that sell the product, okay, making your product very exclusive. So, um, the following slides, okay, will relate to a task that you need to complete next time. Okay, so I want it completed within the next 20 minutes. Okay, so rather rather than do this in class, because of the fact that we're in the snow, okay, I'd ask that you send me the item instead, so that I can assess it myself. So you need to come up with a new fizzy drink, okay, like Coca-Cola, Sprite, Pepsi. Okay. I want you to design the packaging for it and explain what the target market is. Okay, that's all I need you to do is design a product, okay, and explain who your target market is. Okay. Now, it's really important that you design the product to meet your target market. Okay, so if you've got a really colorful display, okay, with loads of kids' cartoons on it, but you're designing it for adults, okay, that won't make any sense. So you need to fully explain exactly what you mean. Okay, at this point, if you've got any questions via email, please send them to me. Okay, ross.hill@uea.ac.uk. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and I look forward to seeing you next week.